and teenagers were yelling at me, "Hey, look at Gandalf, what a wanker!" Because I have my walking stick. The other day, I walked 47 miles in 24 hours, which is just shy of 90,000 steps. Now, it is the hardest thing I've ever done. I was mentally being rent and torn apart. I was in a really, really bad way. I was physically shattered and exhausted. I'm not a fit man. I'm not a particularly healthy man. So why did I do it? Now, when I was explaining this to my father-in-law and to anyone who asked, because I'm an unusual man who does unusual things, and I have to explain myself sometimes, the way I explained it was this: I have so many different issues and anxieties. I've suffered with mental illness my entire life. So, my thinking is, if I can dive into some controlled suffering, because this all took place at a local field, a local skate park, because it's relatively neutral terrain. It's not too much of an incline. It occurred to me that would be my best shot, and I thought, man, if I could. I don't live too far away from it, so if it gets too bad, if I get too unwell, then I could always just come home. My fiance's waiting for me here, my son. I suppose the best way to describe it is, if you were David Attenborough or someone who wanted to investigate some rare insect or animal in the jungle somewhere, the best way to understand that insect or understand the animal and learn its behaviors and everything is to go to the jungle and watch it and examine it and study it. My theory was that I can do the same thing with my mental health. I can put myself on the floor at the jungle. I can go deep into the jungle of my mind and look my mental illnesses and my traumas and my anxieties in the eye, at eye level, and explore them in an environment that is safe, because if I get too desperate, then I can just come back to my house. Does any of that make sense, or am I just sort of waffling? Anyway, that was my plan. And boy, oh boy, did did that work. So the first 7 or 8 hours, I was doing okay, but laziness was kicking in. Every lap around this big field, there was a bench, and I would sit on that bench even when I wasn't that tired, and sit and drink, have some food. I was taking it way too easy. And by about 12 hours in, I was really starting to suffer. Then the impact on my knees, my hip was starting to hurt, and the motivation was lacking. I was going, what the hell am I doing out here? Then when it started to get dark, it was even worse, because suddenly everyone I know was going to sleep and going to bed, so I couldn't message anyone. It was very lonely and dark and desperate. But that's why I was there. I started to feel really miserable then, really isolated, really depressed. But that's part of the success of the thing. There I'm on ground level with my brain, the broken parts of my brain, so it was an opportunity to study them in a relatively safe environment. Then it got to about 18 hours into the walk, and things started to spiral. I wasn't doing very well. I was pretty desperate. So I'm going to show a clip. I didn't take many pictures or videos or anything, but I did record this video of myself. And just for viewers of this, I wasn't on drugs. I have a nervous tic that regular listeners and watchers of the podcast will see and know. So my tic was, I was really struggling with my nervous tic. I was dehydrated. I totally lost the will. I was a pretty desperate man at this point. So here's the video of that. I've been walking for nearly exactly 18 and a half hours. An hour ago, I nearly gave up completely because I had no power left in my legs. I had no will. I was tired. I'm really tired. I haven't done even half as many miles as I would like. And what I want to do is go home to Misha, because I know she's warm and cozy and in bed, and when I get into bed she'll give me a cuddle and give me a kiss and tell me well done for doing what I've done so far. But I'll know that I've failed it. I'll know that I fucked it up. So it's not about the miles anymore, or the steps. It's just about finishing. What time is it? What did I say? 18 and a half. So it's about 7 hours to go. So as you can see, I wasn't doing very well. And at this point, I had a sort of big old stick, a walking stick, to help me. And I'd moved from the field down to a sort of strip of shops, Asda and the Range and whatever else is there, because it was starting to storm down and it was relatively covered. So I walked up and down these shops, and teenagers were yelling at me, "Hey, look at Gandalf! What a wanker!" Because I have my walking stick. And I was going, "Oh no, lass, I'm so tired. I don't want to get beaten up by teenagers." So I was just hobbling along. But they left me alone because I looked like a big crazy guy with a huge stick. Now, I cleverly then decided to go into the gym, which was near that area. My gym is 24 hours. So I went in there and I used the treadmill for an hour or so just to try and get my steps up and try and get the mileage. And then I sat down. I was only able to manage like 11 minutes at a time. I was totally exhausted, hungry. I wasn't drinking enough water. I was really ill prepared for the entire thing. And here's a picture of me for those viewing. Here's a picture of me at Pure Gym. Now look at those eye bags. I wasn't very well at all. Now the thing I'm proudest of. Now, well, to be honest, I'm annoyed I didn't get to 50 miles. The original plan was to do 100 miles in 24 hours. Oh, what a fool I was. So it became apparent that 50 miles was much more doable. But by the time sort of 6 o'clock rolled around, I'd done 47 miles, 89,000 something steps, so close to 90,000. But I didn't have anything left. I was just a shell of myself. I couldn't think. I was just an instinctual beast. And it was awful. So I eventually, after 24 hours of walking, headed home. I slept for an hour and a half and then had to work the rest of the day. So that was a bad day. But the thing I'm proudest of is there was 9, 10, 11 times where I just desperately wanted to go home. I wanted to see my family. I wanted to cuddle up to Mish. I wanted to go somewhere comfortable and safe. And there was no one out there with me. I was doing this whole thing by myself, so I was totally accountable to me. And accountability is important to me at the moment because I'm a father and I want to teach that to my son. So there was 10, 11 times where I had to dig deep, dig really deep, tap into some reserve of rage and determination to get back on the treadmill or to get back outside and do the walk. I wanted to give up about midnight and then did tens of thousands of steps after that. And that's what I'm proudest of, because now I know in future situations when things are tough, I already know I've got this well of power to tap into if I really, really need it. And that was a valuable lesson learned. So anyway, that was my walk, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'll be doing it again in about a month because I'm really pissed off that I didn't get 50 miles. So I'm going to prepare better water, better meals, carb load. I don't know what that means, but my friend Kevin said I need to carb load. I'm not sure what that is. So anyway, that's the story of my walk and how I walked 47 miles and how it broke my brain, but ultimately taught me some very valuable lessons about myself. This has been the Steve Kalish Show. I hope you've enjoyed listening to it. If you have, then click the follow button on Spotify and reach out to us on social media. We love hearing from you. So thank you so much for listening to us. Kevin George will be back for some more hijinks on the next episode. Until then, I'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Hiya, you're right. Hi, everyone.